Again, at the desk with me tonight are assistant coaches of South Louisiana Bank, Coach Nathan Cotton and Coach Jack Collier. And on the phone, the head coach of South Louisiana Bank, Pernell Pellegrin, who's talking to us from Disney World. They didn't send you guys, they just sent Pernell out to Disney World. Huh? If we can, Jason, let's look at a graphic that shows exactly their trek getting them to the championship game. Went in as the number 3 seed, took on the Diamondbacks, which is a team from Terrebonne High, won that one 4-3. Then they go on to play on Wednesday against Rico Reno, an exciting game. We mentioned that earlier, that James LeBlanc actually stole home in the 7th inning. That was the decision maker there as they win that one 5-4. And then the championship game was at Central Lafourche. They win it 6-2. And actually, you guys were going into the championship, the playoff round at the beginning of the week, the number 1 seed, but then you lost to Synergy Bank, if I'm not mistaken, and that knocks you all the way down to 3. So you got to come back from the 3 hole. And what's devastating about that is 1 and 2 get a bye, so you could have sat around. By the way, Pernell, do you think that bye would have maybe hurt you? Did it help maybe to play that Monday?
I think it actually helped us because what it did for the 2 teams that actually got the bye, they had the day off, then came the day of rain. And by the time they finally played, they hadn't played in almost a week. So, we took the mindset that we were going to throw our number 1 guy in the first game. And so actually the bye, getting him that game 1 had him available back in the championship game. So looking back on it, I'm glad we played in the first round.
Very good. Now, E.D. White, since Swampland's inception, E.D. White's won it 3 times, South Terrebonne has won it 3 times, and Vanderbilt Catholic has won it once. Thibodaux High School is always in the top 1, 2, or 3 in there somewhere. Central Lafourche is always up there. And I'll ask this to both you, Nathan, and to Pernell, as you guys coach the high school baseball team over at South Terrebonne. Is it fair to say that there is a correlation in the success of Swampland and the correlation of success in making the playoffs in high school baseball? Nathan, you first.
If you look at the stats, there definitely is. I think it kind of gives the kids a little bit of confidence going into the spring. Obviously, it doesn't guarantee anything, but it definitely gives them some confidence going into it.
Your thoughts, Pernell?
I think it definitely helps you win your district and get you ready. But if you look at this year's Swampland teams that were involved in it, almost every team that was in the Swampland made the playoffs this year, except a couple of us. So everybody's in there is a pretty good team. But, yeah, I think having success one summer carries over to next year, and hopefully we can take this and carry over into next season.
You actually have a good point. The initiation of just getting into the league shows that your program is trying to do the things to get into the playoffs, and you're right. The St. Mary teams kind of struggled this summer, but in all actuality, all of them were in the playoffs this past high school year.
That's correct.
Very good. Jack, you grew up playing American Legion baseball. You helped coach a couple of years ago when the South Louisiana Bank team, which actually hosted the kids from Ellender and South Terrebonne together, were playing. And unfortunately, American Legion is no longer. But if you can, and there's a lot of people who still ask about American Legion and where did it go? And it's out there. It's not certainly as big as it was, but there are parts of the state that still plays it. Can you maybe do a comparison process now that you have coached in Swampland this full summer?
Well, the American Legion team gave a outgoing senior another look to go into the next level. And that was good, but it also had a lot of returning college players back on the team, and it wasn't good for the young guys coming up. So in Swampland, that's where Swampland comes good because the young guys get to stay together and play, all the way up to their senior year.
And some of those guys who are a little bit more advanced can go on and play maybe with a select team.
With a select team.
Very good. And by the way, Jack, we were mentioning that when you did help, and I think Vernon Carrera was coaching with the South Louisiana Bank team at the time. South Louisiana Bank was a team that really the bank itself stepped up for you guys. Is there a better sponsor out there than South Louisiana Bank?
There are no better sponsor out there. Mr. Chuck Weaver does a great job in sponsoring us, and he did it for a long time, and we really appreciate all his help. Him and Stephen Crispino, they really, really, really do a wonderful job for us.
Your thoughts on that too, Nathan? Because this is your high school program. I mean, obviously, if these guys are not helping you in the summer, it once again equates to what happens in the baseball season. So your thoughts, and maybe a thank you out there to South Louisiana.
Definitely, there's a thank you to those guys. It gives us, even during the spring, there's an issue of raising funds for the school to play, and during the summer to have a sponsor, it really makes things flow a little bit easier.
Very good. Pernell, your thoughts not only on South Louisiana Bank, but I know besides those guys, summer baseball could be tough, and especially as a head coach, you got to make sure the field is in good shape. And I'm sure these guys up here helped you with that. But you also have to have somebody at the gate. You have to have somebody who's taking care of concessions. Anybody out there you want to thank?
Yeah, well, first of all, the assistant coaches, so we have 5 of us in the dugout, and they all put a lot of time and effort above and beyond what they even need to do.
You want to name those other guys?
Yeah, Matt Dardar, Glenn Saline, plus the 2 you have sitting with you there. We have a lot of ladies helping us in the concession stand, the gate. We get plenty of support, and then with South Louisiana Bank, and what I like about it is our sponsor gets into it as well. The day after we lost to the E.D. White game, who's sponsored by Synergy Bank, I got a phone call from Stephen Crispino let me know they just got an email from the Synergy Bank president know that he should have lost to it.
The battle of the banks, huh?
They have a little fun with it as well, which is a good thing. South Louisiana Bank has been wonderful to us. Chuck has told us he wants to have a presence in the Summer League. He wants to have a presence down the Bayou in Berg, and they do an absolute wonderful job for us.
Very good, very good. And we must say, everybody has good sponsors that have sponsors in the Summer League, and I want to pass those on to you. Obviously, you just mentioned Synergy Bank, who is the sponsor of the E.D. White team. Golden Motors down the Bayou, who takes care and has been taking care for the longest time of those kids over at South Lafourche. Rico Reynolds, and I think this might be Rico's first year stepping up for the Thibodeau kids. I could be wrong, first or second year. Taco Bell. Now, I hadn't heard Taco Bell before this year, but they came on strong for the Berwick kids. Skipper Sports, and they've been around forever for the kids from Morgan City High School. Robichaud Ford does a great job supporting the kids from Vanderbilt Catholic, and it goes without saying South Louisiana Bank for you guys. So we'd like to thank them as far as supporting the kids in the area. And I got to tell you, there is no probably more gentlemanly guy than Scott Duplantis. He had a great quote in the paper where I think it's the ultimate compliment to you guys, saying, I'm glad they're not now a district anymore, and Scott does things a certain way in the summer, and I know he got out of his summer kids what he wanted to get out of them, so congratulations to them for finishing as runner-up, no doubt about that. If y'all look back at the Summer League and you're sitting here and you guys get to finally take a little break and it gets all cranked up for high school in January, are there some teams, and I'll go this to each of y'all on this, starting with you, Pernell, is there some teams that you're thinking to yourself, man, I know they did certain things during the summer, this team is going to be a team to be reckoned with when high school baseball starts. What do you think about that, Pernell?
Well, I'll just go right into our district this year, Vanderbilt Catholic. They've had 2 or 3 starters who didn't play this summer. They probably are 7, 8, 9 deep in pitching, and don't let their missing the playoffs of Swampland fool anybody. They're going to be right there battling for the district championship next year. And they, like I said, they have a returning all-district pitcher. They have plenty of depth. They're going to be just fine.
And I kind of agree with you, and the reason we're saying this is because sometimes in the summer, kids take vacation at the wrong time, if that makes any sense. You don't know exactly what a team's aim and goal is. I mentioned about Scott Duplantis. Scott knew what he was doing in this, and I'm sure Scott would have wanted to win the championship, but Scott probably got out of this summer what he needed to get out of it. So I'm glad I'm asking these questions, and somebody like a Vanderbilt is somebody that maybe we do really need to watch out for. Nathan, your thoughts on the Summer League as a whole?
Well, if you look at the scores from the playoffs from this summer, they're all like 2-1 ball games, or 1-run ball games difference. And so all those teams are going to be in it. And, you have to bring your game every day, in this area because, even though Assumption didn't participate in Swampland, they're still going to give you a good ball game in the spring. So, Swampland doesn't guarantee success in the spring, but it definitely gives us a lot of motivation to carry it on.
Jack, from a pitching maybe standpoint, something that you saw there that you're thinking, wow, this kid or this team or a cumulative can be really good?
I have to agree with Pernell, probably Vanderbilt, because we also had coached some of the kids and coming up in their younger days for Vanderbilt, in the tribal league. So we know a few kids on there that can really do a good job.
So consensus is don't be fooled by what happened because they were going through a coaching transition also this summer and stuff. So,
Right.
By the way, while we're talking about all of this, we all would like to congratulate a guy that's a friend of mine, and I know Nathan knows him well, John Gatlin. John Gatlin will be the head coach at at HL, not EDY folks, at HL Bourgeois this year. Actually, that was done a little bit early in the summer. John Gatlin, who used to coach at Terrebonne High, I think was out of coaching for 3 years, and will now be at HL Bourgeois coaching. So we'll see him back in the reins. I'd like to thank all of you guys for coming on. You didn't have to do it. I kind of begged and pleaded with you guys, and Pernell out in Disney World, taking a little time out to talk to us. Congratulations, you guys do a wonderful job, and it's going to be a nice, I guess what you would call off season, running up all the way till high school baseball season.
Thanks for having us, Stan.
And Pernell, one other thing, I do know that the kids, some of the kids that you got are going on to play for the Hogs and such. Is there anything coming up with those guys in the immediate future?
Yeah, they're going to go to Winsboro on July 16th and play a week-long state tournament, and hopefully be able to advance beyond that to Ozark, Alabama, and play for World Series.
Is that they franchise in Dixie Majors again?
Yes.
Okay, very good, very good. So it's in Arkansas this year.
Ozark, Arkansas, that's correct. No, Alabama.
Oh, in Alabama, that's right. That's where you guys went a couple of years ago and won it all. So.
Exactly, yes.
Very good. Again, congratulations. Thank you guys for being on with us.
Thank you very much.
All right, we'll talk to these guys later. We're going to take a break. When we come back, announcements about all kind of things going on in the area. We'll do that after this break.